Hello, everybody. Kelly Tenney here, founder and your host of the Women Who AI Summit. And we are back in another amazing session on day one. We've been talking to these powerhouse women who are leading and driving companies that are powered by AI. And in this session, we are here with the amazing Cheri Tree. Welcome, Cheri.
So good to be here. I'm so excited. What an amazing session.
It is going to be an amazing session. And Cheri, you are no stranger, I think, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to being a visionary and really being a leader in terms of what can be done in the industry. And so I know we're going to get loads of value today in this interview and in what you have to share with us in terms of how your company has really embraced AI. So we couldn't be more excited. And if you don't know about Cheri Tree, Cheri is the founder and CEO of Codebreaker Technologies, with code breakers in more than 100 countries worldwide. I know that you're a best-selling author, professional keynote speaker, and you really are just this world-renowned entrepreneur and innovator. And you've created the revolutionary B.A.N.K methodology and Codebreaker's patented personality coding technology and artificial intelligence, which, if I'm not mistaken, is designed to help your clients increase their influence, their income, and their impact in the world. And I'd love to know, Cheri, I know you've got so many accolades. You've spoken at Harvard University, UC Berkeley, you've been a speaker at Google, at GoDaddy, and you've been invited by the United Nations to speak. I'd love to hear how your journey has been from being that entrepreneur, founding Codebreaker Technologies, and then getting this idea of like, wait a second, I think I want to maybe add AI onto the mix. Like, what's been your journey in that process?
Well, kind of a cool story. I started off as just an entrepreneur, a salesperson working in a financial advisory firm. And the model I was working in was full commissions. And so I was basically a starting agent that had to close sales in order to make money. And my first year, I crushed it. I made $700. Like that was my annual income. It was terrible. And I thought, wow, I really need to improve this. So I jumped in with both feet. 5 years. I studied everything I could learn around the sales process. And I just got, beat up in this process. First of all, it's a man's world in the financial services sector. And over that 5 year period, my income ratcheted up to about $72,000. I'm burning the candle at both ends, working 60 to 80 hours a week, scratching my head saying, man, something's broken. And I got very frustrated. And when I took a few steps back and said, what's broken? Is it me or is it the system? I realized it was the system that was programming people like me to fail by telling me that sales was a numbers game, that telling me that in order to get more yeses, I had to get more nos. And I woke up one day and said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because the truth is, in order to get more yeses, you actually have to get more yeses. So that's what began the journey for me to figure out what is the art and science of getting a yes. I started learning about personality types, and one thing led to another. I cracked a code, and the code that I cracked could predict the buying behavior of my customer in less than 90 seconds. This was back before AI existed. I figured out exactly what makes a person say yes or no without any manipulation or, woo-woo sales tactics. And it became a science so predictably that I could use it repeatedly. And in the first year using it as an experiment, I took my income over $500,000, and my time working went from 60 to 80 hours a week down to 20 to 30. So when we talk about women who are like very busy, incredible in the workforce, but they're also a mom. Like I have a little 3.5-year-old son. And how do you split yourself in a way that you can make full-time, respectable income, compete with the guys, maybe even out earn them, and still be a mom? And Kelly, I don't know if you ever heard this song. I remember my mom used to sing it, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan. Did you ever hear that?
Yes, yes.
That you forget your man. I like that. Yeah. I heard that one growing up and I thought, so within my third year, I was making over $1 million a year using this B.A.N.K methodology, which essentially was the art and science of influence. And once it worked for me, I started teaching it to other people that I love dearly, people who are devoted to sales, business owners, entrepreneurs that were looking for a better easier, faster way to be successful. And so that's kind of what put me on the map as an entrepreneur, as a company, as a speaker, trainer, speaking at these amazing conferences all over the world with people like Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and Sir Richard Branson and some of the organizations that you mentioned. But how we moved from training to technology is kind of a really cool organic unfolding of our clients actually kept coming back to us as a company saying, "Hey, you just taught me how to determine someone's bank code to get the yes versus the no. Can I do this electronically? What if I'm not face to face with them?" Because this was the first way that we came up with our ability to crack someone's bank code, which is an acronym, right? The B in bank stands for blueprint, and that's going to be someone who has a certain set of values, very kind of conservative inside the box, or the A in bank that stands for action, and that's going to be the mover, shaker, millionaire maker outside the box. The N in bank stands for nurturing, and that's going to be the person that's really warm and friendly and all about relationships. And the K in bank, which is the acronym, spells out knowledge. And that's going to be the person who says, "Give me all the science, the data, the logic, the numbers, and so forth." So I came up with this originally, these sets of cards as my face to face tool that I use to get to know my customers so that I could basically extract the yes and avoid the no. Over time, technology was like, "Hey, what if I'm not face to face with my client? What if I'm via Zoom, like right now?
Mhm.
Could I hold it up to the camera and start having people crack their code?" I said, "What if we created a digital version of those cards?" And so we did. And so far, we've cracked hundreds of thousands of people's codes electronically, and we made it really cool. And then in 2017, 18, we built an advisory board, and one of our advisors was a gentleman by the name of Neil Sahota. And Neil Sahota was one of the founders of IBM Watson. And he had over 27 patents registered to his name on artificial intelligence. And I said, wow, if there was ever a way that we could push some magical button and have an AI tell us the bank code and what to do with a person so that we could communicate more effectively, I would love to do that. So one thing led to another. It started off by asking questions and wondering what if and what's possible, to then building our first version of the AI. And Kelly, I'm excited because this was like a fantasy dream come true. It's not something I forecasted 10 years into the future. It just kept unfolding the deeper into the science we went and the more we started helping people. And it got us written up in Forbes. Forbes wrote an article, said this is the future of sales if you use Codebreaker AI. And that got us invited to speak over at the United Nations AI for Good conference. This was in 2019, before anyone even heard of the word Chat GPT or some of the more popular AIs that are out there. But that's sort of what got us to here we are today.
I love that story so much, and I know that you have had numerous awards and nominations. You've, that's including Women of the Year, Female Thought Leader of the Year, Maverick of the Year, SaaS Company of the Year, Innovator of the Year, right? Achievement in Technology Innovation. Like, those awards do not stop. And, I can just tell in how you tell the story, like why you've received those awards. And, here at like a Women Who AI Summit, when we're focusing on these amazing thought leaders who have very much like you, they had a vision, they had the courage to ask questions, right? To not stop, to say, there's got to be a way that we can do this. What are some qualities or characteristics do you think allowed you to not only develop something that you originally asked, like, wouldn't that be cool, right? But actually bring that thought into reality, but also have earned you all of the accolades and awards that you've had over the years?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, first of all, I'd say you need a dose of dreamer inside of you and a little dose of crazy, kind of like Steve Jobs talks about us, the crazy ones that are the visionaries that actually can change the world. I think you need to be someone who doesn't take no for an answer or take anyone else's limiting beliefs of it can't be done or no one else is doing it. I've been swimming upstream. Like it was, it was so controversial. It's almost heresy that I push back against the old adage of go for yes instead of go for no. I mean,
Yeah.
there's literally books written on go for no. And I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to state the obvious. Like, I don't know anybody who's excited to go for no. I know a lot of people who would be excited and work very hard to go for yes. But I think it's being willing to think outside the box, think differently, be disruptive, not care what any of your peers think, because I never did anything based on someone else's potential accolades or what they thought of me. Like, who cares? I'm on a mission to see if I can do this for my world and the people who are in my world. And if I can do that, that's going to be like a huge, massive win for our Codebreaker community. Whether or not people ever adopt us outside or it never, like it's a miracle solution for our community who believes in what we're doing. And so, therefore, I think the key is you just have to go for it. And that's the concept of disrupt the status quo a little.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think many of our summit attendees, people watching this session, they're no stranger to that go for no concept. We all love the person behind go for no. And I know that's somebody that a lot of people have listened to and gone to webinars and the conferences and things like that. But one of the themes that always pops up on the Women Who AI Summit is just the idea that as women, we do fine making ourselves feel bad, right? It's just part of our nature to be hard on ourselves. We probably feel guilty more often than we don't. That's just I think it's a characteristic that we as females have. But it's funny because a lot of these AI solutions that we're hearing about today, including Codebreaker AI, is recognizing that part of the tool, right? Part of the idea is to eliminate people feeling bad, right? And it's I'm smiling because it's that message has come in on a number of these sessions today, all in different ways. But right, like talking about how Codebreaker Technologies really was born from this. Who wants to hear no all day, right? As a female who's trying to build a business, who's trying to be successful, who probably is already telling herself she's not good enough. Maybe she's not cut out for this. Maybe it's because she's a female and she's not as good at sales, like XYZ, right? Who on top of that wants to add, let me get 100 no's before I find a yes, right? And so I really love that the whole foundation behind part of Codebreaker is recognizing, why do we want to put ourselves in a situation where we have to be turned down 99 times before we actually hear a yes, right? Because I think as a woman, we take that harder probably than a lot of, than we might otherwise see. And so it's just it's a beautiful fit in terms of like what we know as females we need, right? And how to empower ourselves and how to just eliminate all of that like negativity that we know we already probably put on ourselves just as part of life.
Yeah, I mean, we don't look. The business world has been so heavily slanted towards men, and I don't have anything against men. I love men. And I love their ability to provide for centuries, right, millennium. But I think it's a time for the rise of the woman. I think we see that everywhere we look around. I think one, the guys are scared because they don't really know what to do, and we all know women that women are far superior in so many ways, and evidence of that is so all around. And so we have to be willing to deal with maybe guys feeling inferior or scared or, like they need to put us down because they're scared for the rise of women.
Mhm.
Perhaps. I think it's only a matter of time before they all work for us. I-
I love that idea. I'm sure a
yeah.
lot of
I mean,
as
I'm sure
well.
it's inevitable. I mean, there's already so many stay at home dads. But look, it's a team sport. And this isn't about what gender you are or anything like that. But I do think it's an amazing time for women to step up, to not play small because you've never been small. Anyone who's ever had children, you know what it takes to raise a child. It's like a work that never goes away. I remember my mom saying a mother's work is never done. And wow, is she right?
Mhm.
And then so to add a career on top of it and to have these incredible business ideas and conversations and maybe ways of thinking outside the box. If men are from Mars and women are from Venus, perhaps there's different ways of looking at things that maybe the traditional ways that have been the ways of centuries, maybe they're outdated. And maybe it's time to come up with some new, fresh ideas and perspectives. And I think women can bring it. One of the quotes I remember my mom always saying is, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
So there's nothing going to stop us. And look, becoming a tech company and morphing from training company where I'm like maybe doing speaking gigs and some training events and boot camp, Codebreaker Summit, things like that, to becoming a technology company and artificial intelligence and being able to compete in a very, wow, like a multi, not just billions, but $1 trillion world. We are self funded. By the way, women businesses, like it's only around, Kelly, it's so disgusting. Only around 2% of
Mhm.
female owned businesses get funded from investment capital.
Yeah.
And we're exactly in that category. Look at all of the awards that we're winning, and yet we are completely self funded, bootstrapped based on our ability to generate revenue, which
Mhm.
means we need to be exceptional at the ability to create relationships, convert those sales, retain our customers, and fund our growth without needing the money from the man, so to speak, to keep us in business.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Like I was talking with another tech company that just created an app. The app wasn't even fully functional yet. They hadn't created $1 in revenue yet. They weren't even exactly clear on their path to revenue, and they were raising money at a $15 million valuation. I was like, what in the,
Yeah.
like, Codebreaker has a $20 million valuation as a company. And I can tell you, we have like scratched and clawed our way forward and fought for every single dollar off of the skill sets and the science that we've developed. But wow, like women really need a win and wind beneath their wings. And that's why I love what you're doing with this Summit for Women Who AI.
Yes, and you're not the only guest who has shared that statistic, right? So it's definitely on the forefront. And here's the other thing that's so amazing. Most of our female CEOs know that statistic. And if they don't, just if they just haven't seen it, they've experienced it, right? Yet here you all are creating these amazing tools and technologies, disrupting, right? Forming your companies, coaching, consulting, things like that into like actual technology companies that are building AI tools. And that I think is just a testament of, one, what we can do as women when we put our minds to it, but also just all of you being so deserving when we really talk about AI, female CEOs that are innovators when it comes to AI and just not being afraid to have funding be a deterrent, have being a female being a deterrent, right? And things like that. So if it's okay with you, Cheri, you know that I've been spending a lot of time playing inside Codebreaker AI. I'm a huge fan, and I know potentially a lot of our viewers haven't had a glimpse or haven't seen Codebreaker AI. Would it be okay if we show our audience today what Codebreaker AI
Yeah.
looks like? Okay.
Yeah. Let's
All
give
right.
you guys, you ladies, I should say, a sneak peek. It's pretty
We
cool
do
stuff.
have some guys in here, and we love them too. They love to
We do
support
love
the
you too.
Women Who AI Summit, but
We have a
if
little son.
yes, yes, a future
Yeah, we're raising like the
AI Summit
future
participant.
men of the world who know how to date women who AI.
Yes, yeah, I love it. I love it. I think that's a future summit. Maybe we're gonna to think about. But I have the Codebreaker AI open already. I've been playing with it today. And so I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to ask you to do, Cheri, as I share my screen, is I'm going to have you walk us through a little bit of what we see. So over here is where the Codebreaker AI is. Codebreaker AI is a Chrome extension, correct? So people can go
Yeah.
to Google Chrome or to Chrome extension and download.
Yes. So we have several different iterations of our AI. One of them is the Chrome extension, and this is a subscription model. So this is that when you download it, it only works for our active subscriber base. But the concept behind it was, look, if I could know someone's bank code, which They are a combination of the four letters I just spelled out, B.A.N.K. There's 24 different combinations of that code sequence. If you think of it like a pen code to your debit card, right? So what this iteration does on LinkedIn, for example, is you can pull up someone's profile. Let's say this is someone that you're going to have a meeting with, or you want to create a relationship with, you want to schedule an appointment with, or maybe you're going for the close. Wouldn't you like to know their bank code? And wouldn't it be cool if the AI could predict their bank code and at least give it its best guess based on the data it analyzes? And what if it then could queue up some of the insider tips as if one of the top sales gurus in the world was whispering into your ear how to build that relationship or how to create that connection or how to close that sale? So, Kelly, go
Yeah.
ahead and click the crack the code button. And what the AI will do is it will read and analyze the profile.
It's going to have me sign in.
All right, so it signs in, it authenticates you. As I said, this only works for our active subscriptions. So this is the AI basically analyzing the profile and then coming up with its best bank code prediction. Now, here's what's cool. This is my profile. My actual bank code is A.N.K.B. It predicted me to be A.N.B.K, but that's a very small margin of error. And if you've never met me before, or maybe you met me, but you want to do a little recon on me before you actually reach out or send a message that would convert to whatever the call to action is, even if it's just scheduling a call, this is where the AI is going to come in very, very handy. And as you poke through some of those different um, pieces of this Chrome extension that pops out, it's going to start to lean into how to engage and interact with me, right? What are some of my behaviors? What are the communication tips? How do you negotiate with me? How do you schedule an appointment with me? How do you close the sale? And so forth. So, number one, that's going to be a really helpful tip, right? It's a lot less expensive than having someone actually coach you on every sales call and every outreach you do. Secondly, there's the AI application of something we call the decoder. Let's say you get an email from a client, and Kelly, I don't know if you have your decoder open at all, but the way that the decoder works is you can take any marketing copy, whether that's an email from someone, a blog post, a website, a text message, a social media post, and you can actually paste it. Yeah, you can paste whatever that message is. So an email or this or that, paste it into the AI, and the AI will read it, analyze it, generate the bank code prediction from it, and then again, guide you on how to interact with that person. So if you
Okay,
want to
we're
grab,
gonna test it. I
yeah,
w- I this is something that was sent to me, a little bio of somebody, right? So
perfect.
okay, I have a message. I'm gonna cut it, put it into the decoder. Now I'm gonna crack the code, and it's telling me that that person then is an NBAK. Is that correct?
Yep,
Yes.
yep. And so
Okay.
it's gonna,
So
yeah. So knowing that is like, wow, awesome. What it just takes all the guesswork out. Let's
mhm,
eliminate the margin of error and the risk of saying the wrong thing and miscommunicating. And
mhm.
then how can I transform that into the calls to action? For example, if I want to sell to that person, influence them, a tripwire that you see here on the screen would be a deal breaker. If you said something or wrote something back as you responded in an email that was like, nope, not going to move forward with you. You just kind of turned me off.
Mhm.
These are the important things to know about the client, the person that you're trying to get to know better, right? Our mantra as a company is make people matter. So if you know their bank code, you can speak to their listening, which is the definition of emotional intelligence. And that's how you demonstrate how to make people matter. So that's an example of the decoder. And we have people who run everything through it, every email, their response to the email before they send it, just to make sure that there's a match.
Mhm.
Uh, if they're writing chapters in a book as an author, they'll put all the things that they're writing in there. Or if they're creating website pages or sales funnel pages, they can do it literally by putting things into the decoder. Then the next piece of something that we're really excited about that we're just releasing in the marketplace. If you've ever heard of Chat GPT, imagine Chat GPT to the power of B.A.N.K. And that's our latest release to all of our active Codebreaker subscribers is access to our AI chatbot writing assistant named Kai. And Kai starts with a K, which is the leading personality type, and AI, which stands for artificial intelligence. And what's kind of fun is we named our cool little writing assistant chatbot Kai, happens to be the name of our son, Kai. So it's a really cool moment for us to have and kind of give birth and launch little baby Kai into the marketplace. But the way that Kai works, and you have it up here on your screen,
Mhm.
is imagine now wanting to create copy, write an email, build a sales page specifically to a specific bank code or the essence of that code. You can come to the Kai application here, open it up. There's a drop down of the bank code. And remember, there's 24 different bank code iterations. Pick the one that's like the specific one you're targeting or the essence of that one that you're targeting. Could be specific to a contact or just the concept of the code. And now Kai will create the interaction much like ChatGPT, except that it will start to create the copy towards the bank code of the person you're intending to deliver that messaging to. So this is so powerful. What used to take me maybe hours to create a copy segment, I might be able to accomplish in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even less, using the power of this new AI that we call Pi, which is powered by Codebreaker AI. So it's so powerful. And Kelly, you are an expert in AI. What's your experience of being able to use something this powerful?
It's really impressive. And as you guys can see here, I'm just asking it to perform a task. If I found someone who was an ABKN, so who's primarily A for action, help me create a brief message that I can send on LinkedIn just to request to book a call to collaborate. What I love about this is one of the biggest things that we as AI users I know get concerned about is recognizing that if I were to do this in Chat GPT, it would give me a very generic answer. And it potentially would give me a generic answer that the person on the receiving end might think, wow, this is pretty, it seems like a cut and paste. It seems pretty automated. I don't know. Maybe the person that hit them up before me also used ChatGPT to generate a message. And so now they're getting the same messages from five or six different people. So just the understanding that Kai has the knowledge of how to speak to someone's code, I find it so much more personalized and customized than I could ever do in ChatGPT with just one simple sentence. Right? Like inside ChatGPT would have given me a very generic response. But you can see here, I hope this message finds you well. I came across your profile, was impressed by your background in, right? And so now it's telling us here's how you can customize that. I believe that our combined expertise could lead to some exciting collaborations, right? And so, I think looking forward to connecting and brainstorming together. And, Cheri, this was written for someone who's in action. So can you tell me what parts of this small message actually speak well to people who are in action?
Well, first of all, an action is kind of short, sweet, to the point, right?
Mhm.
Like they're the ones that are like, hey, time is money. I got places to go, people to see what makes me want to talk with you, right? So the fact that you address their background and are able to tug on their ego a little bit is going
Mhm.
to be very attractive for an action. And the fact that it's short, the fact that there looks like there's a revenue possibility for me engaging with you is going to be very attractive for the action. It's concise in the way that it's laid out, with a few little steps to it, which is good for the blueprint. The fact that you want to brainstorm with me is the next part of my K. And it's not super mushy, overly warm because nurturing is the last part of this person's code,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
So if you were like all ooey gooey on them, that's going to be an immediate turnoff for this code.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part because
Yeah.
ChatGPT is amazing AI. Let's all be honest. Like, holy cow! but it fails to take the person and their personality type into consideration. And this is where Codebreaker AI and our Kai chatbot just takes it to a whole nother level. So this is about putting the dart into the bullseye without just throwing it towards the dartboard and hoping you hit something.
Yeah, and I've had enough time, I spend a lot of my time in ChatGPT, and I've certainly had enough time to interact and experience Kai. And I have to say that in ChatGPT, and for those of you that use ChatGPT, you know that this is true. I can't tell you how much information I would have had to tell ChatGPT and go back and forth to actually get it to be this concise. And look, I did this in a matter of like one simple sentence. And I don't know, it took what, 5 seconds to do. And so I think this is just revolutionary. And I know that you talked about this as being like a sales process, but I have to tell you, I've cracked the codes of my family, in my kids, and it helps us. It was funny, actually, Sherry, I didn't tell you this, but I was listening to one of the trainings and I had to pick my daughter up. So we were in the car, I was listening on Zoom, and they were talking about nurturers. And my daughter, who's an N, said, they're talking about people like me, aren't they? Like she already picked up on the qualities and like they understand each other themselves and each other better. And my husband, so for anybody out here who isn't an entrepreneur, maybe you're, in still in a 9 to 5 job, maybe you're doing some kind of side hustle. My husband, who's in retail came home the other day and he had a manager that was, like, driving him nuts. Hopefully, the manager doesn't subscribe to the woman who makes it, right? And he was like, "Oh, and this, that, and the other thing, and I don't know what to say to him." And I said, "We need to crack his code." And he said, "Well, I don't know how." I said, "Let's go to his LinkedIn or send me an email that he's written to the team." And we cracked his code, and I said, "This is how you need to approach him. Like, this is how he's going to be more open to communicating with you." And even, so just in terms of making people matter, like obviously this is a game changer for people who are in sales, building relationships, have those client interactions. But just when you guys talk about your movement, make people matter, just being able to give anybody the tool to say, this is how you can better communicate with someone in any environment. I can't tell you the value in that moment that I felt in just thinking like, thank God I have this tool because, my husband who's in a completely different situation is stressed, doesn't know how to interact with his manager. It feels uncomfortable, right? Just that whole to be able to put him at ease and say like, this is how you need to start talking to him. For me as a wife was like, it was just such a blessing to see how this applies to everything, right? Like, I know why you founded Codebreaker Technology, but this truly on every granular level, unless you're a hermit and you're not speaking to anybody, like this is a game changer, right? Like any yeah.
Even if you were a hermit, you'd have to influence the pizza driver to like, yeah, like I remember calling the pizza driver. They were making multiple stops, and I'm like, "Could you please make mine the first stop?" Like
Yep,
that's influence,
yep,
right?
yep,
Even if it's not on the exact path. I want
yes,
the hottest, freshest pizza, not the one at the end of the route that's
yes,
full, right?
yeah, yeah,
Influence. And so this is the art and science of influence, and you can use it personally, dating, parenting, marriage, just life, communication skills, emotional intelligence, and you can use it professionally for managing, leading, instructing, selling, all of that. And
yeah.
that's how the science works.
Yes, and it starts with everybody who's watching learning about your own code. So, Sherry, I know you've brought a gift to all of our summit participants. For any of you who are like, yes, I'm in, how do I get started? You can get started by discovering your true personality and cracking your code. You can go to crackmycode.com/Kelly, Kelley. We've set up a special link for everybody on this summit to get started and just start it, interacting and seeing how even learning your own code can make a difference in your own self-discovery and your understanding around your preferences and your communication. And Cheri, I know you have a huge VIP gift for our VIP members that are with us today. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. I love ladies who become VIPs. It's a reflection of you want to go somewhere, you want to be somebody. And so we wanted to put together something really special for your VIPs, Kelly. So one thing that we're going to do is if you want to know more about Codebreaker AI and see the benefits of how it can help you save time and make you money and create better relationships, we're putting on a masterclass series related to the AI. It's a $399 masterclass, and we would love to gift you a coupon code that would make it absolutely free for you to do that. So that's number one. So you can register for one of our upcoming masterclass series and just geek out with us in the AI. Don't be overwhelmed. We're going to roll up our sleeves and treat this like a lab and show you how it works so that you can really get results. Number one. Number two is because I mentioned everything with our AI is subscription related, I'm going to give you a 14-day trial. Our subscription is normally $99 per month. We're going to give it to you for 14 days for $1. Okay. So you'll have 14 days to be able to use it, tweak it, test it, crack a whole bunch of codes, see how it works, and then see if it justifies the investment continuing on. If you continue your subscription, it's $99. Most people do, probably 92% of people. And I've got about $1,100 worth of really cool bonuses for those of you that continue with the subscription. So that's a big one. And then we were going to do one more thing, which is we've created a really cool PDF, our secrets around AI for each of the four primary personality types because they engage, like, or dislike AI for different reasons. Probably a 20 something page document filled with goodies and some tips and strategies. We're going to gift you that as a bonus as well. So really excited to share that with your VIPs.
Yes, thank you. So valuable. I am a $99 subscriber. I love it. Like I said, it's a game changer. So thank you because that is so valuable, especially with the AI masterclass, which I get to help and be a part of. So I could not be more honored. Women Who AI, join me over there for this masterclass. It's going to be 3 sessions, which is going to be amazing. And we get to play and, like you said, geek out on Codebreaker AI and Kai. So thank you so much, Cheri, for being a part of the summit. I know how valuable your time is, and I just know how insightful this session is going to be for our participants today.
Yeah, well, it's my honor and congratulations to each of you ladies who are willing to go into a new frontier. You know, a few years ago, maybe AI scared everybody and they thought robots were going to take over the world and fire everybody from their jobs. And now we can see this AI is like an ally. Think of it like your assistant that you're employing to help you speed things up, get things done faster, get more done in less time, make more money in less time, and just have a little bit more time for you because you deserve it, for your family. And yeah, to be able to go and build the businesses that create the success that you're looking for.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for joining us inside this session. We'll see you in the next session of the Women Who AI Summit. Take care.